Honest is a strong word, and we all need honesty when it comes to plumbing and HVAC needs. Somebody who will take care of the repairs efficiently and with quality. Honest Plumbing and Air is who I trust, and they take pride in that word. Honest Plumbing and Air, where a handshake still means something. Well, if you have not been to Austin, Texas this time of year, it is cool, kind of, for Austin, Texas standards. But to the point about Honest Plumbing and Air, get the HVAC, your unit inspected, because triple-digit heat will be here any day, and it will not let up until the end of September. So give our guys at Honest Plumbing and Air a call. Or online at their website. I am Shawn, Clynch, the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast. So if you have never been to Omaha, Nebraska, it is a prideful city, community. They embraced the College World Series. This is year number 75. And we're about to meet a guy who really started a new tradition. And I can't believe I admitted this to him, that I have not been back as a fan since the last 2 years of Rosenblatt Stadium. The old, venerable, leaky, historic girl, and this guy, he is a part of charitable work, a manager of a bar, and Jello Shots. You know, those shots that we regretted back in college the next day, and very colorful. Well, the College World Series and Jello Shots go hand in hand. And before we get to that, before we get this rolling, follow us on each of our social media platforms, Facebook, IG, X, YouTube, and TikTok. And the best part about subscribing to YouTube, it's free. With the way things are going with our economy, we need more things free. So as I have teased, I want to give you a little shot of what I'm talking about, the CWS Jello Shot Challenge. Look at this. Rocco's, Pizza and Cantina. Those are not the official Jello Shots at the right. That's just some generic graphic that I found. And those are not in my condo as we speak. But that board, that dry erase board, the gentleman you're about to meet here shortly, he fills that out as each team clinches a spot in the College World Series. Well, the field of 8 is set. One team who plays in the stadium behind me is not there, but has been there more than anybody. But the CWS Jello Shot Challenge, what a beautiful thing. And I've given him the go to make fun of me and give me a hard time for not experiencing this. The CWS Jello Shot Challenge, let's talk about it. I love it. Murray State, first ever trip to the promised land of college baseball in Omaha. The Murray State Racers has a stadium seats about 800 people. It kind of resembles the wall of the old Rosenblatt, kind of falling apart a little bit, but it's beautiful. This is what's beautiful about college baseball. And, what's also great, our sponsors, particularly Honest Plumbing and Air. Go follow them on their social media and give them a call, including Jim Saxton State Farm Insurance and Dirty Martin's Place, celebrating 99 years. The food's not healthy, but it is absolutely delicious. How about we bring in our guest? It's time to transition to the guy who makes a lot of people smile in Omaha and serves a S-ton of Jello Shots. Let's ride. Good morning. Oh, wait. Good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Pat McEvoy of Rocco's Pizza and Cantina.
It's tough to tell. I don't sleep this time of year, so it's all the same to me, Morning, evening, noon, night, it's tough to tell.
My brother, we reached out. I reached out to you on Twitter. I should have done it in person, but let's get the criticism out of the way.
Yeah, so you're obviously scared of Jello shots. I mean, that's what I know about you in the little interaction we've had. I mean, we have talked a little bit now, and I just know you're scared to come to Omaha and throw back some Jello shots. Hey, one's too many, 30's not enough, and I know that it happens. Yeah, so
you know how it is. If you go back to our college years, you have one bad experience with a certain alcohol-related.
Oh yeah.
You never do it again, but then you find the moment that you'll do it again. So I'm thinking next year, 2026, maybe that time.
Listen, if you don't make it, then I'm going to come down to Austin. We're gonna go to Dirty's and we're gonna have some food and we're gonna get some Jello shots there if that's the case. I mean, I heard the food's phenomenal. So
oh my God, Daniel Young does it right. That's somebody you need to meet Daniel Young at Dirty's, and while you're at it, meet Jim Saxton. While you're here, because you got to be insured while you're in Austin.
Oh yeah, well, especially me. I mean, if I'm bringing a bunch of Jello somewhere, I got to be insured. That just makes sense.
Well, tell me a little bit about your story. You're a Nebraska guy through and through, Omaha. You grew up going to the College World Series.
Yeah, so my dad and his best friend, they went to, I think, 27 championship games in a row. They were in Omaha, and they went to so many in a row. But every year my dad would take me, and it was one of those things where, like, you go and you're 5, 6, 7 years old, and you go down there and the spectacle of the thing is massive. Everybody, I mean, the crowds are huge and the fan bases are nuts, and everybody's cheering on college baseball, and it's impossible to not fall in love with that, right? And so you become a college baseball fan immediately when you see that thing. And I'm fortunate enough to be from Omaha and have gotten to experience it my whole life. But so you go and you do the thing, and you do it once, you do it twice, you do it 3 times. At no point in time are you thinking, oh, someday I will be a part of the lore. You just say, like, this is the coolest thing in the world, and I hope it stays in Omaha forever. And then, yeah. So, 2010, last year of Old Rosenblatt, right. And then 2011 they move it to the new stadium, and I just happened to work at the bar across the street. Accidentally, we'll say, I accidentally got a job across the street, and the first year that. The 2011 year was Florida, South Carolina, and in the championship, and the Florida fans were down, and they wanted alley shots. So I said, okay, well, my bartender at the time was doing something, and the Florida fans go, oh, what are we going to call them? I said, well, you're Florida fans, so we're going to call them F-bombs. It was a bit of them F-bombs. And so South Carolina fans see that, and they're like, oh, well, we want our own shots too. If the Florida fans have F-bombs, what do we get? I'm like, well, you're the shots and F-bombs are flying all over the bar at this point in time. So people are buying each other drinks and having a good time. And I realized that it was fun. Everybody loved having their own theme drink or theme shot. I don't think anything of it. And like 6 months later, Nebraska and Creighton are playing basketball. And I'm at a dueling piano bar watching it, and the one guy's playing Go Big Red for Nebraska, and the other guy's playing Let's Go Jays. And whoever has more money in their tip jar, that's who's playing. So these Creighton in Omaha, it's controversial because you're a Nebraska football fan, but you're a Creighton basketball fan. They call them Jayskers. Like people, there's some people that have real strong opinions on the Jayskers, and so people are tripping over each other to throw hundreds into these guys' tip jar. And I was like, these guys are geniuses. They incentivize being a fan of a sport. Like they made it monetary. And so, in the next 2012, when the series rolled around, I was like, what if I did that? Only I started keeping track of how many shots we sell. And at the time, it wasn't Jello. At the time, I literally just had a 20-ounce store and pour, but each team had their own color and their own like kind of filthy shot name. And we just ran it, but there's no social media because, it was like Vanderbilt, Yeah, well, in Vanderbilt, the Commodores, they were the salty seamen, and like not everybody wants social media. So you have fun jokes, and it's a local thing, and the people that knew about it. But we were selling maybe 200, 300, maybe 400 shots. It it wasn't crazy. 2018, Goodnight's closed and Rocco's opened. And so 2019, Kevin, the owner, said, "Hey, man, how'd you do this? It's a really cool idea." So I explained it to him. And he goes, "What if we just make them these prepackaged Jello shots? That way you don't have to literally pour 20 individual shots or 40 individual shots or however many. You can literally just hand them a bucket of 20 Jello shots." And I was like, that's genius, because that way I don't have to do that many dishes or throw that many shots, so it's just, it made it a lot easier. And so that was the birth of the Jello Shot challenge, is when Kev was like, "Hey, this is going to be way easier." I said, "Yeah, it is actually way easier." But sure enough, the first year we ran out of Jello and we had to free pour them anyways. Arkansas was there. Some guy bought 400 and I was in Fayetteville 2 weeks ago for the regionals, and a guy showed me a video and he said, "Hey, I bet you weren't here for this." And he shows me a video of me pouring the shots. And he goes, "You don't remember Rocco's back in these days?" I was like, "Dude, that's me on your video pouring the shots." And he looked at his video and he looked at me, he goes, "That's you." I was like, "Yeah, man, I was the one that was free pouring 100 shots at a time because you ran us out of Jello. That was there, buddy. Don't worry about it." So,
I love that story, because that's the birth, how something, the idea. Because let's face it, in business, wherever we all have ideas. We come together, we evolve and make the idea even better. This right here is from last year. I don't think that's the final totals. That's just
that's the final total. So that's Tennessee. Yeah, that's the Kentucky number is funny. Obviously, the Kentucky number, a guy literally stopped me and he goes, "Hey, I want to buy 14 shots for Kentucky, but then I want you to cut off Kentucky's number." And I was like, "No, man, we got like 3 hours left. This is the last day." I was like, "We got like 3 hours left. I can't just cut anybody off." He goes, "All right, well, you tell me, when you're gonna cut it off." I said, "All right, when you see me leave the Jello Shot bar, that's gonna be the last update." And so he stopped me and he goes, "Hey, man, where's Kentucky at right now?" And I was like, "You guys are at 69,058. And he goes, "All right, let me buy 11 then." I was like, "All right." So he specifically wanted to make sure. And even like the newspaper in Lexington was like, "Kentucky ends on nice number for Jello Shot challenge." Yeah, those are the finals. Yeah, it was, the Tennessee fans were like, they were flabbergasted. They were like, "How do we, even if you take out, the LSU year, even if you take out the donors, you had Todd Graves coming by 6,000, and we had, even if you take out the big purchases, LSU was still over 50,000."
Oh,
and so the Tennessee fans were like, "I don't get it. Like, how are we not even close?" And I said, "Well, the game's going on. It's the championship." And I said, "There's 75, 80 of you in the bar right now." I said, "If LSU was here, there'd be 350 people in the bar right now. They show up. They don't give a damn about going to the game. They literally just show up for the party." I was like, "That's the difference. All of you came here, couldn't get tickets, so you're hanging out with me instead. The LSU folks will sleep on the sidewalk if they have to, just to be part of the party."
It's a party wherever they go.
Absolutely. Is. Yeah, they try. It's like, I've never met, the competition is fun. I've never met a fan base more competitive about the party. Like they hold it in high esteem. They try to drink you out of beers, or they try to drink you out of Jello shots. Like they're coming for your throat as a fan base. They want you as a bar to have to tell them no. Like they're looking for that reason. And sometimes that happens. 2 years ago, we literally, we're like, me and JD and Tucker, who were part owners of the bar, we all get together and we kind of look around. We say, "All right, it's 9 p.m. How many of these people are too drunk to be in public?" All right, probably only about 20% of them, so we're good to go. And then 10 p.m. comes, and all right, we're creeping up on 30% now. And now then 11 p.m. hits, and we're like, it's 50. We got to call last call. Like once we get to a certain point, we know that those fans, and again, Tennessee A&M didn't have as many problems because they weren't waking up and hammering a bottle of Everclear at 7 a.m. like the LSU fans were. Like that, so every fan base is a little bit different. But we try to do it right. We try to make sure that everyone's taken care of. And some days we have to close early because everyone's hammered and someone pulls the fire alarm. And some days we can stay open until 2. It's tough to tell.
when you look at the field of 8 now, you've got some traditional. I mean, I hate that the 2 SEC teams, you've got LSU and Arkansas. They have to face off against each other in one bracket. And then you've got Coastal Carolina, great story. They won the championship in 2016. They're still classified as a mid-major. Yeah. But then you've got Murray State. You've already heard from them, correct?
Yeah, I promise you that Omaha, there could be 50 Murray State fans. I mean, the stadium holds 800. If all 800 people that go to a home game come to Omaha, they're not going to touch the Jello Shot record. But Omaha is going to jump on Murray State's back. Omaha loves a good underdog story. Yes. And Omaha will represent Murray State. The little-known fact, the CBA, the semi-pro basketball team in Omaha back that used to play in an old Exarban was the Omaha Racers. So, like, a bunch of people have, like, the old Racers jerseys and everything. So, like, you're going to see a lot of old heads, like, walking around with the Racers stuff on, but it's the Omaha Racers basketball and not the Murray State Racers. So, it's going to be like kind of a time machine for some of those people. But, no, there's such a good story, man. And like I said, Omaha, when Coastal did it in 16, that was awesome. And that was a special story. And I know we've talked about this a little bit, but that their pitching coach was in Rocco's 3 months before. And it was cool to see, 3 years before. And I was like, I didn't even know the Chanticleer's logo. I knew he's a coach from somewhere, but I didn't even know the Chanticleer's logo. And I got to talking to him and you going over to the game? Creighton's playing baseball tonight. And he's, no, I'm scouting a kid from Iowa Western. Oh, that's cool. It's cool. But you're not going in there. And he said, no, I'll never step foot in that stadium until I earn my way into that stadium. And I think that just shows you how much pride there is in college baseball and how much Omaha means to everyone in all levels of baseball, really, but definitely. And then he earned his way. They've been 16. They beat LSU in the Super, and then barnstormed their way through the tournament on some great pitching and some clutch hitting, and it was fun. Everybody, again, they only had 50 people in town. It was all the players' parents and family and stuff like that. But that whole stadium was teal because everyone in Omaha was rocking the Chanticleers. And I think people will still be on them, but Murray State is such a good story.
That's a wonderful story. And then I got to ask, because, Texas hasn't been now in 2 or 3 years.
Texas has been here. Texas has been here recently. You haven't, though. I'm just pointing that back out. You haven't. Texas has been here recently. You haven't. I'm just, yeah.
That's he's not wrong. But the city of Omaha, you go back, this, Miami's, the Arizona States, Texas, LSU.
Cal State Fullerton. There's
Fullerton.
some, yeah.
They have embraced it, but it's something I always know because – have you met Mark Pena with Occupy Left Field?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about that group and what you're going to miss not having that group up.
It's tough because, everyone always asks, like, what fan base do you want to come or what fan base? And it's, for us, we don't, we're not, we want to sell Jello to everybody and we want to give to all the food banks. Obviously we with the donations. So we don't really pick a squad, but there are teams that travel better. And for me personally, there are fans that are better baseball fans, and some of the people, you meet, especially like there's a lot of Texas fans that are Texas baseball fans. They're not Texas fans. They're not, they're literally Texas baseball fans. And that's what I love about them is that they'll talk to you about, in 76 when we were there and this guy was on the mound and he hung the curve and that lost us. And like, these guys are die hard. Yeah. And to hear the stories from before I was, born and about their experiences, Omaha and obviously Texas has been there so many times, but to hear them and to hear them talk about baseball and, knowing a guy's, wins above replacement in 92 and like all these different squads. And it's really cool to just sit and soak up some of that knowledge. And there is a lot of Longhorns fans that are true to life baseball aficionados. And I do appreciate that about them.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a well-educated college baseball fan base. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, how do you guys plan to prep for all these Jello shots? Because that's a lot of Jello shots. Because, and I hate to, I definitely want to promote people who may be watching to go, because you're right there at the stadium. It was TD Ameritrade. Now it's the Charles Schwab.
The Chuck.
You're literally right there.
Outside of gate 2, you walk out and the first thing you see is our patio. So we literally are right across the street. And the team buses come in on 13th. We're 13th is in between us and the stadium. The team buses come in. I'm not positive this is going to happen or not. I hear LSU is not going to show up in a team bus. They're going to show up on a Mardi Gras float this year. I have no idea if that's true or false. I'm getting weird words, and hey, that's cool with me. But no, we're right there, and so that helps. Obviously, the proximity is what's key, because people, the game gets over. And there's about a 30-second TV delay, right? And so we have our, if it's nice, we have garage doors and we open those, so it's an indoor-outdoor situation, and you hear the stadium go nuts, and everybody turns to the TV, and it's like Vasquez winds up pitching a pretty good game.
The delay.
Everyone's like, what's going on? What's happening? Oh boy, that ball is well hit, and then you see it because the TV delay. You hear it before you see it on TV, which is awesome because we're right there. Like I literally could throw a baseball into the stadium from our patio. Maybe in my younger years I probably couldn't now. I don't know. It's tough. But yeah, we're right there. So and then you just see the stream, just an absolute river of human bodies coming out of the stadium, and the first thing you see is Rocco's in. So it's pretty nuts, but it's a lot of fun.
So how do you? So there's the different colors.
Yeah. So
how do you prep all that?
Yeah. So we do it. We've done it as many ways as we have found feasible thus far. The first couple years, we used a prepackaged Jello company, and then we had some guys that came in and they were on site making the Jello shots and making them the different team colors and doing all that. This year we're going. This is a brand new shot company. So on Thursday, whoever buys the first Jello shot on Thursday and we start selling, that's going to be the first ever Rocco's branded Jello shot. So these guys from Jello Shots, we got connected with them, and we have 120,000 Jello shots in Omaha ready for us. There's 4 different flavors this year, so they won't necessarily be individual team colors like they have been in the past. We're working towards that in the future, but the team color thing is brutal, because if you don't like your flavor, if you're North Carolina and you don't like light blue Gatorade, then you're gonna hate the series, because you're gonna have to do 50,000 of them. Yeah, so it was kind of one of those things where we figured at this point in time the shots are what the number on the board is what matters. The donations to charity are what matters. And so it's, we decided we're going to go with these 4 flavors. We taste tested them heavily. Don't get me wrong. They're all very good.
You do.
We made sure that they're delicious and checked and rechecked again. But we made sure they tasted good and that they could work with us. They're charitable folks as well. And they want us to do a bunch of other events. So again, we have this idea of Rocco's on the road, and it's really just my excuse to go and to see other baseball stadiums. We went to Fayetteville, we went to Baum Walker, we were in Baton Rouge last year and got to see 3 games from the suites there and raised another, I think it was about 7,000 while we were down there. We partnered with the bar and we raffled off, Marucci spins us a bat every year, the Jello Shot champion bats. And so we raffled off a replica of the LSU bat down there. And another 7,000 for Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, which is 21,000 meals, with the in-kind donations and stuff. So it's a cool deal. And the Rocco's on the road thing is neat, but it's just selfishly me wanting to go places and raise a little money, but also see baseball. And these guys, these Jacha guys, they want to take it even bigger. They want to send us to a lot of other spots and really up the charitable aspect of it. The competition maybe less so, but the charitable aspect of it is cool. And that's what they're really pushing. So that's what drew us to them as well.
I've got a great idea. I don't know if everything will align, but you guys bring Rocco's on the road to Disch Falk Field in Austin. I'll connect you or with Britt Peterson, Pena, even Chris Del Conte, the AD. Get you a suite, get a food truck, where however it works, inside the stadium, and one organization, unless it's strictly for food banks, RBI Austin. It's oh goodness, it's mentorship and baseball and softball programs for inner city youth. You know it.
So we generally leave it up to the wherever we go, we leave it up to them. So when we were down in Fayetteville, we partnered with Foghorns down there, and they gave it to Parker Pagnazzi Charities, which is similar. It's underprivileged youth baseball mentorship and programming, and so that's who they donated to. And we'll go down there and we'll rep it, and we'll wear the shirts and the hats and tell all the stories, and that's, but the bar still has to do it. You know what I mean? So the bar, it's whatever they want to give to. So I mean, any baseball related thing is great. I mean, we obviously, being in the food, 95% of the year we're a restaurant and 5% we're a bar, and it will just happen to be the bar that serves the Jello, so it's, so we're big into getting people fed and food insecurity. The owners, Kevin and Bonnie, have been given to Food Bank of the Heartland for a number of years before.
I respect that.
So, yeah. When it got big, and like I said, I started it. Kevin made it Jello. I started the Twitter account, and I had 17 followers on Monday. This is the Ole Miss year, and I had 17 followers. I was like, no one's going to care about this thing. Like like some people were talking about it. On Friday, I had 17,000, and now I have 50,000 or something like that. Like,
I love it.
Well, people really care about this, and so once it got big, and once we started, like ESPN was talking about us and all these other things, Kevin and Bonnie, the owners, were like, we got to do something with it. And they sat down, and he's texting me like 4 a.m. I'm like, why are you awake, man? Like, you're going to be back at the bar at 6 a.m. Why are you awake at 4? And he just was stewing on it and stewing on it and stewing on it.
Good ideas.
Yeah. And they decided, they're like, we're going to, that year, Ole Miss and Arkansas were neck and neck. It's a little bit like this year, honestly, they were in the same bracket, which we wish they would have met in the championship, but they should reseed the damn thing. I think
I'm all for that, Pat. I really am.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, but I get it. It's a bracket, just like in March Madness and yada yada yada. But like it would be a lot cooler if those two. But Arkansas and Ole Miss are going back and forth, and whoever won that, it pushed to the if necessary game. And Ole Miss won it, and whoever won that game to go to the championship was going to win the Jello Shots. And they decided, all right, we're just going to give those two teams have both bought 8,000 plus shots. We're going to donate, $2 from every shot to those two food banks. Well, then the next year we decided $1 from every team goes to the food banks and 50 cents stays local. And to date, it's we've given over $350,000 in the last 3-4 years, whatever it is. I haven't. To be fair, I haven't. Kevin and Bonnie have. They're the ones. I don't. Yeah, I donate mine to local bartenders when I'm done. I guess that's what I donate my money to.
No, I love that. Giving back, and it's so fun. It's friendly competition, and it's another element which makes that great event even better. I call baseball's promised land, Omaha, Nebraska. Pat, we since you're here, we can't let you go until you take part in stories inside the man cave tradition. All right, the man cave story. There have been some legendary ones, some that still comical thinking about them. But is there one story tied to Rocco's and you and your love for the College World Series that's just as amusing today as it was when it happened?
I think there's a lot of them. Certainly, I've seen a lot of weird things over the years. Maybe the greatest mistake I've ever made in my entire life. I started a Snapchat just for the gel. I started the Twitter, started the Instagram. I started a Snapchat, and like 3 days into the series, I checked the Snapchat because I'm not on my phone much because I'm working. And 3 days in, I check, and there's about 40 pictures of boobs on my Snapchat. Girls from, hey, put 2 on the board for Ole Miss. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm an idiot, right? And so I make a post and say, hey, as nice as all these are, I can't put any shots on the board if just because you're sending me these. So I stopped getting them. I'm the dumbest guy in the world. I could have just kept going. Yeah, I know. And I was like, hey, no amount of sultry snaps are gonna get you points on the board with me, So that was one of the ones where I think about that, and I just every year I just kind of kick myself in the ass. I'm like, God, you could have just been.
You're missing out.
3 days,
you're missing out on areolas.
I know it was a tough deal. Every day and everybody found out, and everyone's like, "Was that really happening?" And I was like, "Oh, it's still like it's crazy." The owner's wife was like, "Are you serious?" And she's like, "You got it." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Hey, good for you." She's like, "Are they nice?" I was like, "Oh, they're great. Yeah, they're
good Midwestern boobs, right?"
Oh, they're all over the country. Like, well, I say all over the country, and I mean, when you open up my Snap Map, there's nothing west of Omaha. It's all southeast of Omaha. It's the SEC, a lot of SEC boobs. That's a lot for that squad. And that's, again, if there's another conference that has more beautiful women than the SEC, I don't know it. So I was perfectly comfortable with that.
Absolutely. Texas to the east.
Oh, absolutely.
Heavily concentrated. Brother, let's end this thing on some positivity.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
Pat McEvoy, he has graced us with his presence. Another lie I lied to him. I said, man, this is going to take 20 minutes. We've told some good stories. You've told some great stories, but we like to end on positivity. Pat, is there anything you would love to – well, tell me something good, my brother, about you, Omaha, College World Series, and Rocco's.
And I think that the heart of the thing is, like, this is fun for us, and I'm not saying that this hasn't been awesome for the business, but the thing that made it cool, the thing that makes this lasting isn't, me writing on a whiteboard. It isn't, oh, this shot is this color, this shot is this color. It's not that it's Jello. It's the fact that we're giving back. And the stories you hear, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the series, when someone goes to their, pick up their mail at a food bank and gets a $38,000 check, and they're, that doubles or triples their year intake, and what people don't understand about that too is that a lot of, like, it's not like, oh, the kids at this university, they can afford their own food. It's the workers, it's the people, in the community. It's all of these different folks that are using these things. So the fact that we've been able to give back and to do that, I've already gotten texts from all these schools already being like, hey, it's been a really rough year. There's been cuts and everything. And so we're struggling. We hope you guys have a good year, because that means that they'll have a good year too. Right. And I think that's what's cool about it, is that we're able to do this thing and to have this tradition, but make use of it in a way that does good for people, and that's what makes us happy is again, I'm not sad about having 400 people jammed in the bar, but the thing that makes it worthwhile, and all the long hours and the long days and all the other stuff is the fact that we know we've made it into something cool that we can do good for.
And you guys have done amazing things, and it's always good when you give back to your community. There's no better feeling than that while you're enjoying something that you love. That's, first of all, your mission and your joy of being the GM of Rocco's in Omaha, and you're right there for what I think is one of the top 3 sporting events in the world, the College World Series.
It's tough to deny that. And I've traveled a lot of places. I was in 16, I was in Chicago for the World Series, and they knew me. They're like, "Oh, Pat, you're the College World Series guy." And I'm like, "Yeah, we got to sort of bond over our trauma of working a giant event like that." So you meet other people that have done a Super Bowl or done whatever. And again, every time I go to a new place, the first place I go is going to be a bar and talk to the bartenders about what I should see. So I love being that for the people that come in for Omaha as well.
I love it. And he's a man of the people. He has relationships with college baseball fan bases across the country. So if you're in Omaha, man, go stop by, introduce yourself to Pat at Rocco's. It's right there. Everything's convenient at that newer stadium. So brother, I appreciate you. Thanks for making time for us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, whenever you have a chance to talk about Pat McEvoy, Roccos in Omaha, Jello Shots galore for a great cause and for the love of this great game, college baseball, and whenever you have an opportunity and the subject is about the College World Series, you know what? It's always good to talk about it.